Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with a Wild Eye review of The League of Superheroes. Today for Wild Eye Week, I wanted to review a movie from them that would not be specifically categorized as horror. Although Wild Eye is known for typically releasing horror, they release movies that fit in other genres as well. The League of Superheroes is one of them. Don't get me wrong, it definitely has horror elements, but it's also an action film, a fantasy, and even a comedy. The funny thing is, I've had this DVD for quite a while, and I've always overlooked it in favor of more conventional horror films. Ironically, after finally watching it now, The League of Superheroes is one of my favorite Wild Eye releases. I cannot believe how much fun this movie was, and how much I enjoyed it. It's actually mind-blowing to me how entertaining I found this film. The League of Superheroes is a 2015 episodic film spanning multiple genres. It was written and directed by Jens Holzheuer and Oliver Teitgen. And, obviously, the DVD was distributed by Wild Eye Releasing. This movie is pretty much the Wild Eye version of The ABCs of Death. In fact, the original title of The League of Superheroes was ABCs of Superheroes. Interestingly, watching the movie would have you believe that is still the title. There is even a song at the end of the film called ABCs of Superheroes. And each segment in the film comes from a comic book a little girl is reading titled ABCs of Superheroes. Regardless, both titles are misleading, and so is this cover in a way. Looking at it, I've always expected this to be just a really low-budget superhero film. Something like a cheesy Marvel ripoff, like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. But oh my god, this was so much more. The movie begins with a little girl at the supermarket with her mother. Her mother is easily annoyed by her, and tells her daughter to get her comic book and be quiet. The little girl picks up an issue of ABCs of Superheroes and begins reading as her mother shops. Between segments, we are taken back to the little girl reading her comic at the store, in the car on the way home, and even when she finally gets back home. As she reads it, each episode of this episodic film is represented by a letter of the alphabet. The letters represent the names of the various superheroes or supervillains in each segment. For example, A stands for Almighty Ape. This segment shows the transformation of a regular working guy into the title character, and then his reign of mayhem thereafter. B is for Bonar, who is basically the low-budget Skeletor. Some of the segments last anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, while others are a bit more substantial. By the end of the film, the little girl has made it through the entire comic book, from A to Z. Other superheroes and supervillains featured include Electric Eel Woman, Fistfuck Force, Instant Girl, Menstru Squad, an Alf-styled alien called Nonster. That segment is super raunchy, by the way. There's a Batman spoof, Quackman, and there's even a Terminator spoof, but I won't say his name. There's a character named Shitstorm, Unicorn Man. There is VHS Man, who is clearly one of my favorites. That segment uses a filter to make it look as if it was filmed on VHS tape. There are the Young Defenders of the Universe, which is this movie's version of Guardians of the Galaxy. And the film concludes with the Z-Men. You know, like X-Men. And obviously there were so many others in between that I failed to mention. All 26 letters of the alphabet are represented with superheroes or supervillains. There are a lot of crossovers throughout too. Characters from earlier segments might appear in later segments, and vice versa. There is actually a lot of blood and gore, which I wasn't expecting, and even more nudity. Honestly, with the exception of maybe the Cockface Killer trilogy, The League of Superheroes probably has more nudity than any other Wild Eye film I've watched. I am not joking. The majority of the episodes in this film feature naked women. And going back to when I mentioned the raunchy Nonster segment, so many of these segments are raunchy. Like really, really raunchy. Like I said, I never expected this. I can truthfully say I watched some of the segments with my mouth wide open. My jaw almost hit the floor with some of the things I saw in this. And that, my friends, is a good thing. The League of Superheroes is twisted, and I loved it. I wanted to watch and review The League of Superheroes to represent something a little different from Wild Eye. Who would have thought it'd end up being one of my favorite Wild Eye films? I feel like this one will be extremely rewatchable. Not to mention, it's extremely entertaining. Guys, do yourself a favor and add this one to your collection, even if it's just for curiosity's sake. And please be sure to support Wild Eye Releasing, as they continue to distribute pleasant surprises like this. Enormous thank you to Wild Eye for sending me this DVD to review. I'll be back with another Wild Eye review tomorrow for Wild Eye Week. Until then, have you seen The League of Superheroes? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and, be kind, subscribe.